Basically,
that's
this
one.
man's shot is nasty. Like anybody who says that, bro, you know their shot is gonna be top tier.
What do the
Nobody,
kids say nowadays? He's goated on the sticks, dude.
literally, bro.
He's goated on the sticks. He's Kovacs out of his mind.
Yeah.
I love
Bro,
it.
He's
bro,
cracked.
with that being said, though, who do you think that some of your biggest influences in the gaming world are? Because I know it takes a lot of confidence to be able to, take this leap that you're kind of doing. You know what I mean? So, who do you turn to in the gaming industry when you need influence?
Yeah, I think my first ever, it's such a generic answer, but I gotta go with Ninja, man.
Okay.
So I know a lot of people, Ninja, he's kind of his rep, for lack of a better term, his kind of, peaks and valleys kind of been bounced up and down. And, he was the greatest, and then he kind of fell off a little bit as he stopped playing a little bit. But man, like, as a streamer, like, most don't realize like how much of a pioneer Ninja really was for us. And like I probably wouldn't have started streaming if it wasn't for Ninja and like what he
Okay.
did. Like when he first played with Drake, man, when he first played with Drake, that was
That was hype.
so like
Crazy.
monumentally massive for the
Yeah.
gaming community. Whereas if that never happened, like that was a huge stepping stone, right? So I definitely you can't not say Ninja, whether you hate him or love him. He's a pioneer for us, and he's created a streamline and a pathway for a lot of us streamers. And my second one is probably one who I never knew of until I started streaming Fortnite was is Nick Merckx, man.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Yeah, Nick Merckx is the
Nick
man.
Merckx, dude, yeah, that's Pops right there, man. I know
Literally.
people jokingly call him Pops, but dude, like, um, him more so, yeah, like I love what he's done for the community and the game and all that, but more so like I love his brand, I love his image, I love how positive he is. He's uplifting, and
Yeah.
he's really for his community. Really, he really cares about his community, and you can tell. Like every single stream you go, every single time I go into Nick's stream, he's just like positivity, 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 and all jokes and all laughs, and it's just he's a really wholesome guy and someone who, like, if I was to choose one guy to network with, it would probably be Nick, definitely.
Yeah,
That's
man. I was
cool.
actually Nick Merckx just released a scuff like literally 2 weeks after I bought mine, and I
Oh
was
yeah,
so salty. I was like,
yeah,
"Come on, man!" That literally always happens. Every time I try to buy a controller, literally the next week something else will come out. I'm like,
mm-hmm.
I just need to wait forever.
Yeah,
I do like Nick Merckx. It's funny that you brought that up just because, like, for me, watching him, it's just all about the jokes. It's all lighthearted. It's all fun. And then, of course, the meme of the forehead cam is just, like, so iconic. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Just-
yeah,
That dude in his Gears day, that's where I started picking him up because Gears was one of the shooters that I picked just for single player aspect, and I would go on YouTube and watch highlights, and it would be him. And that dude, even back then, was hilarious. How he would
yeah,
fight people back then, it was just toxic, Nick
yeah,
Merckx.
yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
god, bro, it was
yeah,
hilarious, dude.
yeah.
And then, yeah, that dude is actually, man, it's kudos to people like him and like Doctor Disrespect and even Ninja who have like transitioned through games, like
game
Game
after
after
game. Yep.
game
That's,
game
I
after
was
after
going to
game.
say the
game,
same
Yeah,
from
thing.
yeah,
Halo to like just grinding it out, man,
yeah.
until something pops for them. You know what I mean? Just
Mm-hmm.
not sticking to
Mm-hmm.
it. And then for Fortnite to be what Ninja, blew up off of. I bet if you asked Ninja that before the Fortnite thing happened, like right before he started going full time streaming, he probably would have thought it would have been Halo. That he would have
Yeah.
made his whole
Yeah.
life off of
Yeah.
Halo. But
Mm-hmm.
then the H1Z1 thing happened, and then it's just a crazy, it's a
Yeah.
crazy world, man.
Just a
Twitch has been
snowball effect.
yeah,
Yeah,
man.
Yeah.
for sure, dude. Yeah, Nick Merckx always fun to watch, and I feel like he's always streaming when I'm like not, so like I get a chance to really just
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
chill and watch. So
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
I want to ask you a couple of really just quick lightning round bullet style questions
Okay.
of either your favorites or your influences. Uh, business. Who's your favorite business guy?
My stepbrother, man. My stepbrother, his name's Matt.
Ooh,
Yeah, my stepbrother,
That's
his
a
name's
dope
Matt.
answer.
Coincidentally enough, but he's an entrepreneur, and he started this business called Get in the Loop, and it's like a little membership like based business where like it just gets you like deals on like local restaurants, shops, bakeries, like all that kind of stuff that he partners with, and it's totally free. And quick little plug, quick little plug
do
for
it,
him, but
do
like
it, bro.
yeah, and it's totally free. It's an app, and if you're just a member with the Get in the Loop app, you just show any of the partners on the app whatever deal it might be. So he first started it with with golfing. Whereas if like on 1 sec, I'm just getting an alert. I gotta pause that.
All good, bro.
And it was first started with golfing, like for Father's Day weekend, you and your son golf for free. So you just show him the app, that you get the deal, blah blah blah. Same with any like restaurant, like 2-for-1 appies on so and so and so. So and he took this idea and just grinded his ass off. Started from nothing and just exploded it. Now it's an internationally based business and like multi-million-dollar, like successful.
That's dope.
Like, yeah, it's super
Good for
cool.
him. Congrats to him.
Yeah, I get a lot of inspiration from him, and we bounce ideas back and forth on each other, and it's super cool.
That's
Yeah,
sweet.
incredible to have in your corner, dude.
Yeah,
Somebody like that. That's like, you know, not to put a price on your brother, but like that's literally priceless. Even if it like, wasn't your brother, to have just anybody that you can bounce ideas off like that in the business world is massive.
So actually, you know, of course, I wanted to kind of keep this part quick, but now I'm actually really curious, like, what kind of like, how does he help you in terms of building your brand or like the streaming part of it? Because obviously, it's two different realms in a sense, right?
Yeah. He's actually started to learn a little bit about because he knows he's not an idiot. He knows,
Sure.
like I always like, right? He's not an idiot in the sense he knows that what esports is and what it's becoming. So he's done a little bit of research. He's not a gamer by any means, never has been.
Yeah.
But he's done his research. He knows the potential, knows and everything. And he was very worried about me starting my streaming career and everything. But ever since he's learned of how passionate and how driven I am, the goals that I'm setting, and he's kind of taken my side a little bit more, because just like how I just started from nothing with my stream and my brand and my image, he kind of did the same, and just exploded it out of nowhere. It's just like snowball effect, like I said earlier, and just built upon this, you know, this one goal of you know, creating something for yourself. And it's no matter what it is, no matter what your end goal is, whether it's building a business or, you know, starting a bakery shop or becoming a full-time streamer, you start at this seed, right? And you just try to, and you just try to build it as much as you can. So yeah,
that's really cool though.
It's all a little bit relatable. It might be different context, but
yes,
you know,
exactly. Well, that's really cool that you like Mike said, you have someone like that that's kind of gone through it all to kind of give you the little tips and tricks, like especially at all the different stages that you're growing at, you know. So it's really cool. Okay.
I completely feel you on like just one little last point. I completely feel you on like family being a little nervous or on, you know, diving in head first and things like that. So I can respect that tenfold too, bro. So
yeah, I'm sure we'll get into that later.
For sure.
Bit more.
For sure. Okay, back to the lightning round questions. We just covered business. What about favorite athlete or
LeBron
athlete?
James.
Okay, LeBron.
I feel that.
That's the homie.
What about favorite celebrity?
Ooh. Ryan Reynolds, man.
Ooh.
Love that guy. Canadian boy.
Yeah, I was going to say Canadian. Now,
love that guy.
The real question is, are you going to see Detective Pikachu? Are you a Pokemon guy? Okay.
I was. Not as much anymore.
Sure.
But like as a kid, who wasn't?
Sure, right.
We all played, you know, collected cards, played the games. Definitely. I'll be watching that.
That's awesome. Okay, so
I seen the trailer when I seen Endgame, and it actually made me want to see it more. I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
I want to.
I know. I want to watch it.
It's gonna be Ryan Reynolds, man. The guy's pure comedy. Like the guy is pure comedy. Dude.
Something really quick, real crazy. I seen, because you know the Sonic trailer just came out too, and there was this theory. It was like a little tweet. It was like, what if this is the start to like the real world Super Smash?
Super Smash, yeah. I saw that tweet. Yeah, how cool would that be, man?
Okay.
So cool. Sonic, bro.
Just nerding out over it, like,
Sonic have? Yeah. Like, out of all the games, sorry, here, let's make a story off Sonic.
Yeah.
Like there's got to be some. I don't know. I thought that was pretty cool.
Pretty iconic game though, Sonic.
Yeah.
It's true.
Ooh, like that's one of the very first games I ever remember playing, like on Sega. Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Game's fire.
Interesting. Well, okay, so you pointed at your back wall. Obviously, it's full of different posters of so many so many things.
It's pretty random.
But what I see the most right now up front is definitely of musicians, artists, and you have the guitar. So obviously I've seen you play, and your stream seen you play guitar.
Yeah.
and you have great taste in music. So tell us a little bit about your music background and some of your favorite artists, etc.
Um. Yeah. So, just everyone likes music, right? And
Yeah. Uh-huh.
as an athlete growing up, playing sports for so long, I kind of turned to music a lot, to pump me up and whatever. And I've always taken a liking to it, and I always like rap. Rap is probably, if you're going to ask me my favorite genre, I'd probably choose rap. And then I really enjoy, the softer, because I play the guitar, like Jack Johnson, John Mayer, Noah Gunderson, Ben Howard. Like they're all these like softer, like kind of like City and Color probably is Dallas Green. He's probably like one of my favorite artists of all time. And then, but yeah, who I have on the back wall is I got Chance, one of my favorite artists.
Chano,
Yeah, I got Drake.
of course.
Yeah, the six god. You gotta have the six god
Yeah.
up there. You can't. No, you know what I'm saying. I got ASAP, which I'm disappointed in ASAP that he hasn't really released much music lately. I'm sure he's doing some
They're
crazy
going
shit.
to this year.
Yeah. I got Kurt Cobain, a little bit random. I got that poster a long time ago, just kind of spontaneously. But Mac Miller. If I was to choose my favorite rap artist, it probably would have been Mac Miller. So I'm
Yeah, man.
quite sad about his
Really
passing.
sad.
He's someone I always would have liked to see live. That I'm quite disappointed I never got to see him live, but it is what it is. That's life. And then I got MJ and LeBron.
And
Okay.
that's
So
like
the
a.
wall of goats.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say the wall of champions on the back
Yeah,
there.
the wall,
You
yeah,
stick up
exactly,
Loft's
man.
picture on the
Yeah,
back
that's,
too.
that's
After
just
World
like
Cup,
big,
dude, slap up the
just like right in
profile
the middle.
picture, bro.
I'm saying,
That's
dude.
how you walk out of Fortnite, bro. Just
Yeah.
a big ass thing right there.
Just a shrine.
Yeah.
That's the
Oh,
career right there, dude. The
yeah.
career wall. Well, okay, so we just talked a little bit about the music on the wall. Touched briefly on the two sports legends on your wall, but you mentioned that you played sports through in your younger years. So,
Yeah.
and I know because we've talked before that
Mhm.
you played volleyball at a competitive level. Let's go back a little bit further though, and let's talk about. Did you play any other sports growing up besides that?
Yeah, I did. I played baseball was like my first
Okay. Yeah,
real
same.
like kind of like sport that I like went full at. I played for like 11 years, all throughout high school or all throughout elementary school and high school. And then I also played basketball growing up, and then volleyball, like golf, played a little bit of rugby, a few other things here and there. But it got to the point where I was 16. So I think grade 10. And I had the opportunity to play for Team BC. Like, so in the States, it's like there's state teams, isn't there?
Right. Yeah.
Right. So it's the same, the provincial teams, exact same thing, compete against
Okay.
other provinces at a higher stage or whatever. So I made the Team BC, or had the opportunity to play for Team BC for baseball, and as well as I made the Team BC team for volleyball when I was 16. And that's where mom and dad told me, "Okay, time to choose." And it was a really difficult decision. I loved baseball. I miss it every day, but I chose volleyball. I don't even like looking back. I don't even know why I chose volleyball. I just kind of just really just it was first instinct that I just loved it more, and went on this pretty crazy, adventurous path in my volleyball career, and went to various colleges and various program, and yeah,
That's
did
incredible,
my
dude.
thing.
I have
Did
to
my
be
thing.
honest. I was humbled, seriously humbled, when I was my short stint in college. I
Yeah.
was playing with the basketball team, and after one of their practices, the girls' volleyball team invited us to play against them in
Yeah.
volleyball. And like we went in thinking like, come on now,
Yeah.
well, let's be honest, what's
Yeah.
happening here? Like we're about to blow these girls out, is what we're thinking.
Yeah.
Got
They
stomped.
stomped us. I've never been more sore in my life. My thighs, I had so
Yeah.
many burns on my thighs and knees from trying to save the ball. They are
Yeah.
so athletic, dude. Like wow. So I completely humble me about volleyball. And I'll be honest with you, like when I played with my family, like a couple years after, I was so much more competitive. Oh, I was
Yeah.
trashing everybody. I was like, I know the setups now. I know I know
Yeah.
the things people
Yeah.
do to, you know what I mean, to make other
Mhm.
people look embarrassed. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a fun time, dude. I have a lot of respect for volleyball.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a pretty cool sport.
I actually, can you touch on a little bit like I know you said that you don't really know what made you choose volleyball over
Hmm.
baseball, but could you maybe touch on a little bit if it was a hard choice for you as a male to choose volleyball over baseball, and just
Hmm.
like with the stereotypes of the two sports are? Because where I grew up, if I would have chose volleyball, I have to say right now it would have been a really hard thing to do where I grew up. So that hearing you like say you chose volleyball, that is incredible to me. That speaks to like you. That would be like me being like, I'm gonna do what Michael loves, not what the world wants Michael to love. You know what I like? That would be like me
Yeah,
standing on my own 2 feet. So that seems heroic to me. But like
yeah,
maybe for you, that's what I mean. So if you could
yeah.
touch on that a little bit for me.
Yeah, yeah. Growing up as a volleyball player, right? I was always a volleyball guy, like because there weren't many of us in my hometown in Kamloops, and it was definitely challenging. A challenging choice, as it's like you say, it's a girl sport more so looked at, and um, I was always kind of like a little when I was growing up in elementary school, when I was younger, I was kind of like I always kind of cared what other people thought of me, my image, like my hair always had to be, like and like I was always that kid, right?
Yeah.
Pretty boy
And
loft, dude.
that's what I'm saying, right? Like and I just kind of like I don't even know when. Probably around when I chose volleyball was kind of when I was like, you know what, man, I'm gonna just stop giving a shit what other people think of me, and I'm gonna just do whatever the hell I want to do, because I just recently tweeted about that actually too. Was like once you start not caring what other people think about you, life gets so much better.
Yeah.
Like
I feel that.
like tenfold times better. It was the same with streaming, right? It was like it was no different. It like I grew a passion for something that I truly cared about that other people probably wouldn't understand. Same with volleyball, right? And I just said screw it. I dove right in and I went like I just went all in on it.
Hard.
And yeah, and I got shamed for it a lot in volleyball and streaming, and just kind of didn't let it get to me. Like sometimes you would. It's hard to say that you never let it get to you, but that's just part of the battle, and doing something that might be out of the social norm, and just working super hard at it. And like as soon as you start showing passion and hard work and determination, people start to kind of slowly come around and
Yeah.
understand,
Yeah.
and then once you gain success over it, that's when it's like mm, that's that good
Incredible.
feel, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, like so when I college volleyball for 5 years. I kind of bounced around, had a couple issues at a couple schools, and I wasn't the best student. If it was something that I was super passionate about and like gave a shit about, I did quite well. But if it wasn't, I kind of like it was volleyball first kind of thing,
Yeah.
and and gaming and stuff like that. But I ended my career in Red Deer College, a little town in Alberta, and we actually won back-to-back provincial and national championships in my fourth and fifth and final years of college, and it
There you
was
go.
like that, that
This man's a champion.
He is. He
that
has
cherry on
champion in
top.
his blood.
Yeah,
Literally.
so it made it all worth it, like I
Yeah.
had those I had that goal. I had that goal for probably, I want to say, a good 7 or 8 years when I finally realized I'm going to be a volleyball player, right?
Yeah.
And worked at that goal for so long to finally achieve it and basically tell everyone,
Yeah,
and
dude. I respect that, man.
did my thing and
That's
got it done. It was pretty dope. Pretty
That's
that's
dope.
crazy.
incredible, man.
Yeah.
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 So you did. So you're obviously you won your championships. I got a hint from somewhere that you did a little coaching stint too. Is that true?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I want
Uh,
to know about is like from being on a team to then being able to coach. Tell me what you kind of learned from that experience, because in my opinion, obviously, like I was able to coach a little bit when I was running track and I did hurdles,
mhm.
and that coaching experience really like taught me more of like the leadership role, blah 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 blah. I
Mhm.
want to hear kind of what your experience was out of that.
Yeah. When I so like I had to stop playing volleyball, and it was very tough, like
Yeah.
very, very
Mm-hmm.
challenging. Like that was something that was volleyball was my life for so many years, right? But I always like kind of coached like in the summers and like here and there had little coaching stints, and I knew it was gonna be something that I'd want to do in the future. So when I finished volleyball, that was the first thing I did. I found the local, like my old high school, like senior team, coached them for a year or two, and then the club team here as well. And it really taught me a lot about the game and, like you said, the leadership role. But it just gives you a different perspective, like
Yeah.
whole different perspective. And then you look back on like some of the things that the kids were doing, like when as you're a coach, and you look back and it's like, wow, I did that too. And I hate, like as a coach, like I hated when that kid did that. I did that back in the day all the time. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of puts things into perspective that, you're a stepping stone in these kids' lives. And um it's a really cool, it's like the outside looking in
Yeah.
of like this whole entire journey, this whole entire volleyball career, that I, the outside looking in, kind of like rewatching it as a coach, and like kind of molding these kids like in the directions that you feel like is going to really benefit them. And it's really cool. It's really humbling experience. Yeah, something
The
I
last
miss. It's something I miss a lot actually right now.
the last thing, that actually what you just said right there, that last part ties into kind of the last thing I feel we should talk about with this volleyball subject is how did it feel when you knew you had to walk away from it? Because I know how it felt when I had to walk away from basketball and walk away from football, and I know what it still feels like today and how I still search for that fulfillment
Yeah,
today.
miss it real
Yeah,
bad.
And like
yeah,
it is a so if you could just speak on how that feels for you and maybe how it affects you, maybe how you
yeah,
deal with it as well.
yeah. Yeah, that was a dark hole. I'll be honest, like that was a dark void when I lost volleyball. Like when volleyball was over for me, it was like, now what? Like, what do I do now? Because like I didn't finish with three. I got a diploma, and like because I just never really knew what I wanted to do with school. Like school just wasn't it for me, right? It was always volleyball, but I was just too blind to think that volleyball wasn't gonna last forever, right? And then it was coaching, and but like when I had to stop playing volleyball, like I said, it was like, now what? And I just kept looking for that deep desire, passion that I had for volleyball. I wanted to put into something else. I just couldn't find what it was. It was coaching. I loved coaching. I loved that. I miss it. I just don't have the time right now.
Sure.
I see myself coaching again eventually. When? Not really sure, but and then I found streaming,
Yeah.
and I started streaming and was like, man, this is it. This is it. Like this is the feeling I've been waiting for, and I just
What
Haven't
it's
looked back ever since,
I
huh?
what
I
I haven't
like
looked
that,
back.
dude.
I haven't looked back. Yeah.
what procs the feeling like in terms of streaming? Like, because it is a certain it is a certain it's different,
Yeah.
man. You have to honestly be a lifetime sports player to understand it, honestly, to where
Yeah.
you dedicated your entire childhood to
Yeah.
like to a goal,
Yeah.
and then after having to either abruptly walk away from that or just at the end of it walk away from it. What
Mhm.
about streaming kind of like itches that for you? You know what I mean?
Um, I don't even know. Like that's a tough. Um, I really enjoy like the whole community thing. Like when I was talking about Nick and how he really embraces his community and loves his community. I really like that side of it. Like I've made new friendships, new relationships over streaming that never would I have ever made, and never would I ever thought I would have even gone into. And also, it's not necessarily just a streaming thing, but the whole competitive nature of gaming, I think,
Yeah.
is big for me because I'm a very competitive person. So I always need to be competing for something, in the sense like, or like not necessarily competing for something, but working really hard towards something,
Yeah.
right? Like working really hard towards that end goal, during that working towards that championship goal, right? Like that goal of partner, like Twitch partner is something I know a lot of people say, well, Twitch partner isn't everything, but that's my everything, right?
I
Twitch
feel you.
partner is my everything that I need to get to. So I need to work as hard as I possibly can to get to,
Yeah.
I
right?
feel
No days, like I take very little days off, very little time off. And my family hates me for it. Doesn't hate me for it, but they're,
Yeah, of
they
course.
right? And they're not quite as understanding as if it was for volleyball, right? So that's
Yeah.
been a
Yeah.
very challenging thing, but we'll get to that later. But I think it's more so just that competitive drive, that like working towards a goal, is probably what drives me every day, and keeps me going.
Yeah, well, I mean,
So
that does kind of actually like lead a little bit into some of the other questions that I got. I mean, you just said, you're always streaming, always grinding, and it takes away from family time. But what was your childhood like? Like what were you like when you were a kid? Were you always
yeah,
gaming? I mean, obviously you played sports, and probably I'm sure the
Yeah.
family loved that you were outside and getting active and whatnot.
Mhm.
But what about the gaming side of that? What do they think
Uh,
about young loft gamer?
my mom hated it.
Yeah.
Like hated it. But the thing, it's her fault. She always put a video game in my hand, man. She'd always like I'd ask for video games for Christmas. She would buy me video games. So I was like, okay,
Right?
perfect, right? But no, I was always playing. Like I played multiple sports, so I was always playing a sport or multiple sports all year round, right? So I was very active, and then I did school, like I did it, like I got by. I did pretty well in elementary school, and in high school I got by. I got and as long as I took care of everything I needed to take care of, I was allowed to play video games. That was
Yep.
kind of always the deal. um
Same.
and yeah, and so if I didn't take care of things, then I didn't get to play video games. So I always did my best to just take care of things, right? And I played video games, whew, like forever, man. Like if I wasn't in school, playing a sport or doing homework, I was hanging with friends and playing video games, or I was just playing video. That's all I
I
did.
feel that. I
Yeah,
feel that.
right.
So that kind of ties into pretty easily with my next question for you is what do you think your earliest memory of you gaming is? First memory you can even think of.
Yeah. Probably my earliest memory is probably Sega playing like Sonic and oh man, I don't even remember the names of the games, but Sega was probably the first console I remember. And then but I would say my earliest fondest memory was when the N64 came out, man, and it was Christmas, and me and my brother, like we're probably like 7, he's 4 years older than me, so he's probably like 11. And we like that's all we wanted for Christmas was the N64. And we opened up all our presents, and we didn't get an N64, and we were super bummed out about it. And we had this we had this little we had this little decorative tiny mini like Christmas tree downstairs. And my uncle was like, "Oh, Chris, Matthew, like I think there's another present downstairs. You guys should go check it out." And we're like, "Oh, no fucking way!" Right? So
Pog, get down there.
yeah, we sprint downstairs, we open it up, and it's an N64, right? You guys all seen that like viral video of the kid opening the N64 and losing his mind or whatever,
Yeah.
like screaming. Like that was us, man. Like that, like we were just so ecstatic because my brother's super into video games as well, more so as a hobby for him. But so and then we got Zelda for it, and Donkey Kong, and
Top
like
tier game.
yeah, don't
Yep.
like
Top tier. The top
and
tier
just
Mario games that came out of
yeah,
that.
that's what I'm saying. Like
Oh,
Mario Kart 64 and Super
sheesh.
Mario 60,
What was
like
that
all
Mario game where you like it was like look over his shoulder? It was almost like Odyssey. I remember going into the castle to try to save
This
the
is probably Super
princess.
Mario
Super
64.
It was
Mario
maybe it was that
64, man.
The
Yeah, that
OG.
game
top
was
tier game.
fire,
Do,
man.
Top
Like
do,
tier.
do,
that's what I'm
do, do,
saying.
do,
The
do.
It was.
Mario parties and
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
the Mario
no,
Kart
I
was
would say
another
maybe
game,
not
bro. I
necessarily
played
my
by myself.
earliest. Yeah, oh yeah, maybe not necessarily my earliest memory, but a very early, but probably my fondest memory
Yeah.
was opening up that N64 and being it like our first console that we ever owned ourselves, and yeah, it was pretty
That's
cool.
that's pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
That's crazy. Dude, the
Mhm.
N64, honestly, such good days. Like
Oh,
for me too, Ocarina of
oh,
Time,
yeah.
GoldenEye.
Oh, GoldenEye.
Oh
That's
yeah.
my.
Oh,
I've said this before. It's like that's my intro to shooters, man.
yeah.
That's where I started.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
but we touched on this a little bit before with the whole streaming aspect and your competitive drive to kind of see progress, make progress, and all that. But in general,
Mhm.
I mean, for you right now, as it currently is gaming more of a hobby for you? Do you find it to be kind of maybe an escape tool from anything going on in the outside world? Is it a social thing where you get to go on and play games with people? What do you feel about
Or
gaming right now?
or since you're like in the heap of the grind, because
Yeah.
this is something that people really don't necessarily like to hear, honestly,
Yeah.
is when you're in the heap of the grind, gaming isn't gaming.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's not.
It's
And
more than
you
that.
know,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
people don't like to hear streamers talk about this, I personally am not a streamer, so I feel like I can talk about this all day. But being a person like, who if I had like a week off and I play games 7 days a week, by the third day, I mean, I'm not like on a schedule, and I'm like, damn, dude, do I even
Hmm.
want to, you know what I mean? So I can understand from a streamer's
Hmm.
perspective. So with that too, do you feel like playing games right now is maybe become not a chore or a job, but more of uh like now it has to happen. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I know what you mean. I do.
Hmm.
Um, I first like I said, I always play video games.
Yeah.
But when I was in college, had a couple. I'm not gonna get into it. But like had a couple kind of quite um intense things happen in my life that put me in places that I didn't want to be in. And gaming really was quite influential in getting me out of those places in terms of kind of like you were saying, you were calling it this a bit of an escape. And I think gaming is quite amazing for that within moderation. It's an awesome escape just to do something you love with friends that you love, and and you can just you're working towards games and you're trying to beat these games, trying to get better at these games. And then so that being said, I always knew I was going to be a gamer, right? Was it like growing up, was it the best hobby to have? And kind of like maybe not, right? Like I mean, like I'm quite aware and quite understanding of gaming as being quite addicting
Yeah.
and in kids' lives. Like, and I am very understanding of that in terms of parents being able to moderate it and all that kind of stuff. Because I agree with all that. Um, Play video games as much as you want within moderation, right? But where I'm at now is the fact that I wasn't very good at that, right? So I always knew that I was going to be gaming. I always knew that I was going to be gaming as much as I can for as long as I can, no matter how old I was. So I was like,
Yep.
man, like I'm not breaking this habit. Why don't I try to do something with it? So I was like, oh, okay, maybe I bought a PC. I bought a gaming PC, a nicer gaming PC, and me and my friends always kind of joked about, oh, you should just start streaming it. You should just start streaming it. I was like, nah, 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 and then I did, and haven't looked. Like
This
I
is
said,
history,
I just haven't looked back, man. So yeah,
What
man.
about yeah? So that's a good. Before I just want to give people a quick chance to think of some questions. We're gonna take some questions after this next topic here, but talk a little bit more about what drove you to hit that start stream button. Like what you're obviously your friends are egging you on to do it, and for me
yeah,
personally, it was I hit the start stream button because I had nothing else to do. I moved to a new area where
yeah,
I didn't know anybody, so I just wanted to
yeah.
meet people online, I guess, and
Hmm.
and really just put my time into the gaming thing. I felt very alone and whatnot. So for
Yeah.
you, like, what's the earliest memory that you really have with starting streaming?
Well, so I've always known about Twitch and streaming and elite gaming for quite a while. My earliest memory of it was probably World of Warcraft. I played World of Warcraft a lot as a kid, and
Nice.
and started watching videos and YouTube videos on all these guys, like all these best gamers, and was just infatuated by it. Like just was like, oh my god, this is so cool, right? I would love to be able to do this one day. And then you kind of life goes on. I kept playing sports and kept doing it, but then like a new game would come along, and then I'd watch videos on that, and then I found out about Twitch. I probably found out about Twitch more so, like I think I knew about it, but like more so knew about it like when I started playing. So I started playing League of Legends in my second year of college, when a lot of shit went down in my life, and just fell in love with League. I love that game,
Just a
right?
mid
Fair
lane
body.
LeBlanc
Everyone
main
when you
himself,
have
dude. The
finally,
LeBlanc. I've
dude,
talked to
Right?
you about
everyone
this,
finds
bro.
Yeah.
league when they're in the dumpster, bro. Isn't it
Yeah.
insane, bro? You
Yeah.
find league in the
Yeah.
In
dumpster.
the
The
word, yep,
community is
yep.
so
The darkest
toxic,
of
bro.
dark times, you find, like, yeah. So I found out about League and started playing that, and then started going on Twitch more, started watching Twitch streamers more, and I was like, I always thought like, man, this is something I would love to do. This is so cool. Like I love these online personalities. I love what they're doing, the communities they were building, and you know because there was always like, well, I'm gaming so much anyways, like I totally could do this, right? But one thing after another happens, and then I played Hearthstone a lot as well, and same thing. Wanted to get really good at that game, so I watched other people, how they built their decks and how they played those decks, and et cetera, et cetera. And then I just started, like, my Twitch interaction just started getting higher and higher and higher, and then Fortnite came, and then
Oof. And
Fortnite
that's
King.
it, baby. And now let's
Yeah,
look at where he is, baby.
yeah. I first tried Fortnite on my brother's Xbox because I didn't have console at the time or even a good gaming PC. I just had my crappy laptop, and I was like, man, this game's fun. I was like, this game is this is it. This game is it right now, right? And I was like,
What season was that?
the end of season 2 was
Yeah,
when I first tried
me too.
Fortnite.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, man, this is pretty dope, right? And I was just bartending at the time, just working, like making pretty good cash, and had some money to blow, and was like, I'm gonna buy myself a gaming PC. So I bought myself a rig, I built it, and just to play Fortnite. I never really had the idea of streaming Fortnite then. That was just to play Fortnite, and started playing it probably for about a month or so, like getting better at it faster than most people, like
Yeah.
faster than normal, like, right, and just played it as much as I could outside of just because I was bartending, I was coaching, I was dating someone at the time, and then I was playing, and then gaming, and I was just playing it as much as I could, and then and then like I said, my friends were kind of like, oh, you should just start streaming, and then I bought a webcam. Then I bought a webcam, and that's when it.
That's so
Uh,
crazy that
Oh,
you
sorry.
guys found Fortnite. Like, I downloaded Fortnite literally the first 6 months
Yeah.
on, and what was insane is when I first started playing Fortnite, there was this glitch when you would shoot out the RPG at people, and if it direct impacted them, it wouldn't hurt them. And
Yeah.
I have this clip on PlayStation of me launching RPGs, and I have to slow down and show how like it literally direct. It's like 3 RPGs in a row hit
Yeah.
these 2 dudes who are like reviving. One's reviving him, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do? They
Yeah.
just stood up and
Yeah.
blasted me after eating 3 RPGs.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Fortnite is I knew then that Fortnite was, even in my rage early on. Dude, honestly, the games that make you feel the most like like some kind of way, like the most
Yeah.
passion, like what the hell? Come on,
Yeah.
man! Are the
Yeah.
games that like when you're winning, you're having the most fun, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Agreed.
what's
That's a good
crazy
point.
with Fortnite is like you could, for me at least, it was like when I was playing it really consistently and just seeing the progress that was being made day in and day out of just playing the game, learning the building, learning the fighting, all of that stuff. That's what drove me to keep wanting to like keep in it. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
it's games like that where you can look back 2 weeks ago and just immediately know that you're better than you were
Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
stuff that I love. Like you
Yeah.
can, if you put in the time in the practice, you can see the progress. So that's
Yeah.
why I loved it. And
Mhm.
we'll talk about the whole Fortnite thing later. But
Yeah, we
real
will.
quick,
Yeah.
I want to take a moment. Chat, if you guys have any questions, please drop them for us. I have a couple from the Discord here. Yeah, be sure to drop us any questions you got for the guy Lof here. So first question, this comes from Tim Z Derps. Basic question for Lof: where did Jeezy come from?
Oh shit! What
The
did I say?
tail end of your tag.
Just like the name, like the name.
Yeah, yeah.
It's actually just a childhood nickname. Like, so my last name being Lofgren. My actually, I can't even. I have never actually said this before, but like my brother was the first Lofgeezy. His friends called him Lofgeezy. And then
Oh.
I know. Copyright. And then but when I hit high school, then my friends all started calling me Lofgeezy as well. And then just Jeezy, and I kind of just stuck. That was like I got lots of nicknames growing up, but that was probably the one that stuck the most, and kind of
I'd
just
feel
turned it.
like such a cool guy if I went to high school and my nickname was Lofgeezy. I don't know why, bro. Like I have to be honest, bro. Like I just like calling you that, bro. I just feel like it's such a cool guy. Like, and
Yeah,
not even like stereotypical like, oh, douchebag cool guy, but like the guy who just like everyone likes, every
yeah,
kind of group of people likes him.
yeah,
That's pretty crazy, man.
yeah,
That's funny.
yeah. So that's where the name comes from.
Okay, I got another question coming in. This one's from Gar, the duo.
Oh
What's your hair
no.
routine, bro?
Bro, I don't even actually have one, man.
Yo, he wakes up and looks this good, bro. Jeez, how humble.
I hate. God damn it, Garen. I just wake up, shower, and put on a hat so it doesn't like, so it
Fly
kind of goes back a
everywhere.
little bit.
I feel
Yeah,
that. I used
put
to
on
have
a
long
hat for a little
hair.
bit, and then I either leave the hat on or I take it off, and I
That's
actually have been
funny.
growing it out lately. It's usually not this long, but it's got some length to it now.
You
Some
guys,
volume.
you guys would be in your World Cup prac tonight, just turtled up in a boxing. Be like, hey man, so tell me more about this hair routine you
Yeah,
got,
right.
dude. Okay, here we go. I got another one here. Um, how big is your audience? That's actually a pretty cool. What's your stats like right now? You're looking at
For Twitch.
yeah, Twitch stats. You're looking at average
Uh,
what, 20, 25,
I
30
think
viewer average, 32?
I'll check right now.
And then follow count is what?
It's
4K,
Follow
right?
huge
count
too. It's
is
incredible.
2,985 right now.
I thought you were in the threes, man.
15 away
You're
from
about to
3K.
hit 3 though. Yeah, good for
Yeah,
you.
very close, very close,
Big
very excited.
pog.
Yeah, doing a big giveaway at 3K. So check it
Oh,
out.
big
Check it out.
giveaway at 3K. Get in there, boys.
Yeah.
Chat, you
All
hear
right, where is
that?
it?
Me, if
Analytics.
me or Jack win, everyone's saying it's rigged.
Yeah.
I'm at.
That
I'm
trigger.
averaging 27 viewers right now.
Okay, there you go. That's good.
Mhm.
That's
Hey,
really
man,
solid.
that's incredible, dude. Wow. How wait,
Mhm.
question on my own real quick. How long have you sorry, if you already answered it, how long in terms of time have you been streaming for?
Oh
A
yeah,
year,
that's a good question.
a month?
My I don't know exactly, but my 1 year was I think it was about like a little over a month ago. So I want to say 13, 14
That's
months.
crazy, man.
Yeah,
That's a
roughly.
crazy
That's really
first year,
good.
dude.
That's
Yeah.
insane.
That's an awesome first year, man.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
really good.
I think the main way to like kind of dictate my growth personally is like when I first got to 1,000 followers. I think it took 8 months when I was at 1,000 followers, and since then I've gained almost 2,000. So it's like just been like ever
That's
since, and
crazy.
it's
The
Would
Fortnite boom has been good to my
yeah,
man.
yeah,
I
and
love
just
it.
like networking a lot, meeting all these amazing people throughout the community, and
Yeah.
and just trying to get my name out there as much as I can, and just trying to community share, right? So
Yeah. No, for
yeah.
sure.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm gonna take one more because there's a really big question, and I want to say that to the end because it's a really good one. But I got another question coming from Show. What
Okay.
who do you want to see next at a concert, or what concert do you want to see next?
Um. Oh, there's so many, man. I would like to see Chance again. I saw Chance. So
Yeah.
when I first saw Chance was at Squamish Music Festival in like 2014, and I actually didn't even know about, like, I knew of him but didn't really listen to him.
Right.
So
Right.
so I watched his live performance having not known a single one of his songs, and
Wow.
it was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. And ever since then, I have been a massive Chance fan, and I would like to see Chance now that I know of him. Does
Sure.
that make sense?
Yeah.
I think it'd be Chance. Yeah.
That's dope.
Have you ever been to the
Yeah.
Drake concert?
I have. Yeah, I saw Drake
Oh,
at
yeah?
Squamish then too. Yeah,
Oh,
front
wow.
row. Front row.
Oh,
Oh my god.
I had nosebleeds
Ra-
for Drake,
Dude.
man.
Yeah.
I
And
was
like
pretty
so it was it went ASAP Rocky and then Drake, and ASAP was dope, but at the end he was just like, I want to see some mosh pits, and I was like, no. And then all of a sudden it was just like got really crazy, and like got really, because we were like front like 3 rows or whatever, and it got super crazy, and Drake didn't come on for like another hour and a half, so it was like an hour and a half of just like
Getting thrown
shit
around.
show. And then
Damn.
but then it was all worth it because banging concerts.
Yeah, dude. That's dope.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, guys, thank you so much for all the questions. We'll take more at the end. We got another half coming up here. So yeah, make sure you guys get your questions in the chat. Some of my mods will help move them over to the Discord so that I have those and we don't miss any. But yeah, real quick, let's just jump back into some of this stuff here. So I want to move more into like the Twitch realm of things. What's something that has kind of surprised you on your Twitch journey so far?
How hard it is.
Yeah?
Yeah,
What
probably.
aspect?
Like, yeah, like it's
Because it's obviously a time thing, and you have like, because the way I look at it from a Twitch perspective is it's harder than YouTube because you can just record a bunch of YouTube videos, backlog them, and upload them later and do your editing, whatever. But with Twitch, the hard part is you have to be live literally for
time.
X amount of time, 4 hours, 8 hours, whatever. And that's
Yep.
that, not that it's all gone afterwards, but that time is literally gone. Like, you
Yeah.
know, you don't have that time now to do your editing, to do your whatever.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Like, so
That for me is why it's so
yeah,
hard.
it's I found it more so as a job, right? So like you're saying, like I stream anywhere from like 8 to more. So right now, like 8 to 10 hours is kind of like where I'm streaming right now, and then I take an hour or two after that to edit videos, network in other and my friends' streams and like stuff like that. Kind of just get my name out there as much as I can and show my face in the community and blah blah blah. But yeah, the whole having to if you want to produce content as well, and you don't have an editor or anyone to help you with that, it's challenging. And then social media, all like elsewhere, like you're trying to network on other social medias as well. It's a lot, man.
Exhausting,
It's
isn't it?
exhausting. It's very exhausting. Yeah, I don't get much sleep.
Isn't it at the end of the day when you like realize that, oh man, I should probably post something on Twitter, or, like
Yeah,
I could try to connect with
yeah,
somebody. Like,
yeah,
That's
doesn't it feel
literally,
like
yeah.
a mountain? Doesn't
yeah.
it feel like a mountain in that moment?
It
Like,
is. It
you're like to
is.
open the app. Like,
Yeah.
that's something that I've been trying to like tackle recently. Is just like this. Why does it feel like a mountain to jump?
Hmm.
Like to like try to go out of my way to connect. Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. Yeah.
always when Loft hits me up in like DMs or whatever, or like I see him posting his highlights. Is literally like we're West Coast.
4
It's
a.m.
literally
Yeah.
like 2, 3 in the
3
morning right
4 a.m.
after, and I'm just like
Yeah.
I'm in bed just chilling, and I just see like a bunch of
Yeah.
stuff coming through from Loft like this. Loft tweeted that. Loft
Yeah.
posted this. I'm like, dang, bro, what are you doing?
Grinding.
Yeah.
He's nuts.
Yeah. So yeah, I try to stay off my phone as much as I can during stream.
Yeah.
And then when my stream ends, like I said, I edit a video or I'm just in people's chats and whatever, just saying what's up and then I go to bed or I make a snack, go to bed, lay in bed and take out the phone and network for another 45 to an hour and get my whatever clip, like whatever video I drew up that night, I post it and yeah, it's a lot, man. It's a lot. There's a lot. There's a lot that goes on in the background that people don't see. Just
Oh,
because all they
100%.
see is the stream for the most part.
Yeah.
There's a lot. There's so much more to it. There's
Oh,
just
yeah.
so much more to it, man. If you want to get your name out there as much as you want to, right?
Especially I feel right now, and I always feel kind of bad when I bring this topic up because you guys stream, but with just how many streamers there
Oh,
are
it's
on
so
Twitch, how,
oversaturated.
like
Yeah.
watered
But
down.
that's why you need
You know
to
what I
you
mean?
need
You
to
have
be
to
out there as much.
overkill.
Exactly.
Like
You
you have
have
to have your
to.
face out there. He has
Mm.
to be posting at 3,
Yeah.
4 a.m. because because Jack's in bed at that time. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like
Yeah.
no offense to Jack or anything. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
'cause Jack,
true though.
you're
No,
not
no,
even
no.
in
But I
that
see what you're
Fortnite.
saying
You're
though.
not even in
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
realm. But like you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like that's it takes things like that, and that's why Jack. The same thing I like always talk to you about, like with the podcast, is just like getting your face out there and like other mediums too, and other like facets. Just putting your face out there as much as you can, regardless of people like if you know what I mean, regardless if people want to see it or not, just having your stuff out there, I
Yeah.
feel eventually like traffic is gonna flow your way eventually. You know what I mean? And then if you have this heap of content that you've already been posting and working on, you're already in, the middle of your grind, and people just start coming on and they're watching as you're in the middle of it. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? It's not you're already in the trenches. You've already been doing it.
Yeah.
It's now that you've tasted that little success. Now you're digging deeper and harder. Now the axe is you're throwing that thing way harder now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
so that's what I always found. Um, go ahead,
Yeah,
bro.
so something that I do, it might come across not quite. I don't. Anyways, so I like
Go
to
ahead.
kind of relate myself, like where I'm at as a streamer. Like so, like right now, I'm relating to myself to people who are quite similar to my analytics, how much what I'm doing, and I try to beat them. So I'll find
Oh.
someone.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say something else. You're good. That's
No,
fine.
yeah. So I'll find, even if it's like a really good friend, like a really good streaming buddy or whatever. Like, okay, so and so is I'm kind of catching up to this person, right? I'm catching up to this person, and he's doing this. I need to do this better, right?
Wait, hold
You
up.
know what I'm saying?
Hold up,
Like,
hold up,
so-
hold up. How good did it feel to beat me then?
Bro, that's why
I was waiting. Hey, yo, tell me how good did it feel to beat me, bro?
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, you kind of stop the grind a little.
Yeah. No, I know. I feel.
In your defense. But like, so when we first met, Torchy, I think I was at like, I don't know, 600-700 followers or whatever. You were at like, I think you just hit your 1,000.
I hit the 1K.
I was there when you hit your 1K, and I was like, that's dope. That's dope. And I was like, I'm a beat Torchy. Like,
Yeah, no, I
you know
respect.
what
But
I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
but and it's all out of respect. It's
Yeah,
not like I'm trying
exactly.
to be. Well, I am trying to be better than you, but like I'm not trying to like
No,
best
yeah.
you. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just I'm using you as ammunition and know where I can be, right? And using it as fuel, using just
Yeah.
trying to you know
No,
trying to be the best I can be, right?
yeah, because I have the same mindset. I did the same thing when I started, and it still happens to me now. Where it's like, if I see somebody relatively in the same lane, it's like I want to not beat them to just say, haha, I beat you and like put you down,
Mm-hmm.
but it's more just
Mm-hmm.
you said, it's that motivation to be like, okay, they're doing something that I'm not doing, or what's
Yeah.
different. Like I need to
Yeah.
change up my
Exactly.
game plan and really
Mm-hmm.
get back on all these different things, so that way I can,
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, yeah, like you said, it's out of respect. It's never to be
Yeah.
like, yo, bro, like get out of here, like you suck now.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, no, I feel
Yeah.
that 100%.
And it's no different. Like there's people that were lower than me now more successful than me as a streamer, and I'm trying to think like trying to like figure out, okay, what are they doing differently, what did they do differently
Yep.
that I could do. And it also is the same as like with sports, with volleyball, right? Like
Yep.
in practice, like you're battling against your teammates, right? Like on the other side of the net, I know like me and my best friend that I had, that he was my roommate, he was my best friend, but he was like the best player on our team, and we were always on opposite sides of the net because our coaches knew how hard we competed against each
Yep.
other, and we knew how much better. Like we would go home, after practice some nights and literally hate each other. We wouldn't talk to each other for the entire night until the next morning
Yeah.
because of something that happened at practice, or because one of us bested the other during that practice, and we were just pissed, right? But we just used it as fuel. We didn't get salty about it. We didn't, we didn't, cower away from it and just like let it ruin our friendship. We used it as fuel. We knew it was better for the team and better for ourselves to get it, to make ourselves the best volleyball player we can be, or the best streamer you can be, right?
Yep.
So does that make
I
sense?
think Twitch is kind of a different environment aspect where I think everybody can eat at the table, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
With how many, honestly, my little brother just yesterday surprised me with how many people he subscribed to and on Twitch. And I was
Yeah.
thinking, like, he's 13. So that means my mom is subscribed. 8 people. And so
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, dude. So, and I personally, I'm only subscribed to Jack, literally. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and
Wow.
I don't
Thanks,
like
bud.
really, I don't really, like, I don't really understand. Like, I kind of understand why somebody would subscribe to so many different people. And
Mm-hmm.
so I understand that that's what people do. Twitch seems to me like a place where everybody can kind of get food at the table.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like, in different industries, in the business industry and trading stocks, like I do, it's a dog eat dog
Yeah.
world. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting food off of your plate, Jack's plate,
Yeah.
like Kim's plate,
Yeah.
her parents' plate. Like, I'm like,
Yeah.
and then that's
Yeah.
less food for them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So there's
Yeah.
this aspect of it's the competition turns negative because we're taking food off of each other's plates.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I think it's a little bit different on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
Even like I feel like on YouTube it's more hostile because there's less food on the plate. But with Twitch, there's so many
Yeah.
viewers,
Oh.
and there's
Yeah.
so many viewers, new viewers each month that are
Yeah.
making Twitch accounts that
Mm-hmm.
don't have subscribers. That literally there's enough food for if me and everyone watching from both streams and anyone watching in the future wanted to start streaming right now, there'd be enough food for us.
Yeah.
That's how that's how like fruitful I feel Twitch is. Like
Mm-hmm.
seriously, and like and so that's why I feel like it can be this positive competitive nature where you're not necessarily at each other's necks like
Mm-mm.
on a personal level, and it never becomes personal, never
Yeah.
ever, because you're not even necessarily getting physical pain. Rise in sports, it that's why sometimes out in sports it would seep into like, you're in the car ride pissed off, you're at home pissed off, because it's a physical pain. And that's why sometimes if you have like a really bad day streaming, it will seep into your like your real world, because it will affect your emotions so
Yeah.
heavily that you can't click it off like you can click off the
Yeah.
game. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so uh
Yeah.
to kind of
No
go off
different. Yeah.
feel there, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
No different than like a bad volleyball practice, right? Like
Yeah,
I've had
Yeah.
this conversation with other people. Like you have a bad volleyball practice, you go home, you're pissed. You're
pissed.
pissed for the
100%.
rest of the night, right? But then when next volleyball practice comes in, it's back to business, right?
Mhm.
As soon as
Yep.
that was always our motto. As soon as you open those doors, as soon as you step on that court, it's back to bit. Nothing else matters. It's
But yeah,
the next.
my whole point to that was like, whereas like a teammate may accidentally physically hurt you, right, or even
Yeah.
emotionally hurt
Yeah.
because he's beating you. If
Hmm.
Jack tomorrow started gaining 100 followers a day and then in 3 months past you, that's not going to hurt you emotionally
No,
or physically. You see what I mean?
no, I'd
So
be happy for him, right? So
competition
yeah,
never
yeah.
turns negative. It
Hmm.
never becomes this. There's no. If it becomes negative, then you know what I mean. We
Yeah.
got some individual problems.
Yeah,
We got,
yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, I was in a homie's chat earlier today before I started my stream, and for example, he was just like, he showed me all his, or he was like, these are all the love emotes I got. It's like a very common emote for people to have. And then I went in, I was like, oh, I wonder how many, and I got them. I was like, holy shit, I'm subscribed to a lot of people, right? And he made the comment as well, but like 90% of the people that I'm subscribed to are also subscribed to me. So it's like,
Mm.
it always reciprocates. Like maybe not so like I think I'm subscribed to Nick, so he's obviously not subscribed to me. One day,
One
one
day.
day,
Yeah, right.
That'll be the
one day,
day.
right? And I think I'm subscribed to Tfue to playing T faults and stuff like that. But just as
Right.
an
Oh, yeah,
example, right? It all like kind of bounces back, right?
mhm.
Mhm.
And that's why, for a little bit there, like maybe a couple years ago, I would think like my not understanding would then turn to like, what the hell are people doing? But now
Mhm.
that I feel like I've like grown up a bit to where I'm like, I don't. It doesn't really bother me, like whatever.
Yeah,
Like I don't
yeah,
mind if people are. So you can. I don't like. I was surprised that my little brother was subscribed to 8 people. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
Because that's
yeah,
my brother's card. But
yeah.
at the same time, like with it doesn't affect me if it just tells me like, since I know my little brother's doing that, and
How
we are
many
the
others?
richest of people. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
come on, bruh. You know
Oh
what
yeah,
I mean?
there's
Like
some lucrative people out there that are
literally.
doing some pretty crazy things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Well, going off of kind of just this either grind or even somewhat, I don't know, this leads really well actually into the next question that I have, which is like, with the Twitch platform,
Mhm.
um do you think that hard work can pay off? Because I've seen what you're doing and all of the hours that you put in, all the content that you make, and like you just said, like literal hours of sleep missed for it. You're grinding, and it has its results. But do you also think that there is still that luck factor involved? I mean, to an extent, you someone can scroll down, finds like a bigger streamer scrolls down, finds your page, hosts
Yeah.
you, and you get that luck factor. We
Right.
already talked about it with like Fear itself and whatnot. But
Hmm.
but what do you think? Is it more about the grind right now, or is it still the luck factor that can boost somebody up to being
Yeah.
rather successful?
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Like being noticed by upper talent, will always come down to a little bit of luck. But like, in its defense is the fact that how much are you putting yourself out there, right?
Right.
If you're streaming Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., so 9 hours a week,
hmm.
your chances of being noticed by these people are pretty slim, right?
True.
Whereas if you're streaming every day from like 2 p.m. to 12 a.m., which is like my schedule, people start to notice you a little bit more and a little bit more, and they understand that you're passionate about it and you're committed, and you're not just some kid or some guy that's just doing it because his mom or dad bought him a nice gaming PC and a webcam and that he can, right? Like these kids, who are like these 14, 15, 16-year-old kids right now who are just Fortnite gods, like
Literally.
unnatural, like how good they are at these games and how smart and tactical and technical that they are at these games is quite abnormal. But like people know.
Normal. I love that term.
Yeah, but the thing is, people notice, right? Like
Yeah.
people truly truly do notice hard work. They notice passion. They notice determination, right? There, we can naturally, especially people who are similar, like Nick Merckx, for example, didn't get to where he is without that hard work, that
Yeah.
determination, right? That grit and just never giving up. They are naturally going to be able to pick out people who are doing the same thing, right? So they're naturally going to want to help those people who they were once in their shoes. Does
Sure.
that make sense?
Yeah.
So is there luck involved? Of course, absolutely. But it's you increase your chance at getting lucky by going all in, man. Like
Yeah.
if it's something that you're truly passionate about and truly care about, whatever it is, whether it's getting a degree or becoming a professional volleyball player or becoming a professional streamer, you're not going to get to where you want to be by half-assing, right? So,
Yeah.
True.
yeah.
Man, and I have to be honest, my opinion kind of like, if this is like a teeter-totter, like last week with Steve, I was kind of on the more side of like, you need a little more luck. But like
Mhm.
now with Yuan, I'm gonna be honest, man. With people in their first year, I want to know how many. Obviously, you can't generalize, and you shouldn't like generalize with people.
Mhm.
Um, how many people are grinding like you? Seriously, in their first year,
No,
like
that's
that
the
commitment.
difference, and that's
Like
what brings
seriously,
me back to always like
there's there's serious commitment, and I feel like you can. Obviously, you don't want to put people in box and generalize people, but I feel like if you scroll through the Fortnite streaming channels, like every one of them, and I bet a lot of them have a little schedule underneath their thing. But now, how many people are actually following that?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and you're grinding your ass
Mhm.
off, man. So for, I think, whereas I feel like a little luck isn't has to be at play. People like you make me lean more towards the hard work side of the like
exactly
the
why I
teeter
wanted to
totter.
bring up. Yeah.
Because you're grinding, man. You're in the trenches hardcore, like
Mhm.
hardcore.
Mhm.
And I feel like that is paying off for you. And I feel like,
Mhm.
um, I think it's about like keeping the momentum. It's like I always say, it's like a train that's going super fast. And if you catch that train and you're riding that train, you got to ride that train the whole way up.
Mhm.
And if you let go, you take a break, regardless if it's family
You
emergency,
fall
like we
behind.
see last week with Steve, and how quick Steve bounced back after
Mhm.
family tragedy, or just with anything, man. I think that as soon as that train passes you, it's hard to jump back on. It's hard to find it again, man. And
Mhm.
that's why, like, seeing someone in their first, like, that's why I was asking, how long have you been streaming? And
Yeah.
this is how many hours you're still putting it in, man. That's why
Yeah.
you're in your first hour, and I can understand how you're feeling, man.
Mhm.
But I think that the success you're having has got to be addicting. That
Yeah.
chase has got to be addicting, and it's gotta kind of neutralize the burnout, kind
Yeah.
of like refuel the burnout, right?
Yeah. Yeah. At the start, like I touched on it earlier. Like when I first started streaming, I was working as a bartender full time. I was coaching full time. I was dating a girl at the time, and then I started streaming, right? And so I didn't really have a schedule. It was kind of all over the place. It was like I streamed. So my day looked like I would wake up around um, 8 or 9 a.m., get ready for work, go for work at 10, get home around 4 p.m. I would eat at work because I worked at restaurants, right? So I would eat or bring home food. I would stream for 3 hours, 2 or 3 hours, and then I would go to volleyball practice. I would come home from volleyball practice. I would stream again for like another 3 hours, and then I'd go to bed.
Man.
And then I wake up and do it all over again. Like that was my schedule. And then I'd have the odd day I didn't have volleyball practice and I would stream all night, or I didn't have work, so I would stream all more, like whatever, right? I did that probably for my first half of my stream, and it just like it was quite challenging. Like you could see the growth, like you could see it like slowly and surely, but it just wasn't what I wanted to do, and I knew I had the passion for it. So that's when I said, I gave up work, and I just wanted to dedicate more time. So I cut down my shifts. I only worked about like 1 day a week, and then so essentially I was streaming full time. And that's when I went full time streamer, when I had actually was able to set a schedule and stream as much as I wanted to stream. That's where I started breaking barriers, and that's
Yeah.
when I knew this is something that I really wanted to do. Um and then I just kind of kept devoting more time, more time, more time, more time, more time, more time, and just sacrificing things over and over and over. That's that's honestly what you have to do with, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
like you said, if you're not getting lucky, if you're not getting these big 40,000 Tifu hosts that randomly just spark this like snowball effect that's just going to make you massive, if you're not getting that, you need to do the extra work
Yeah.
Yeah.
if you want to achieve your goals, right? Because I didn't really like I the big breaks, if you want to call them, or this one YouTuber, his name was Cryos Gaming or whatever, was probably the first real big influential break that I had. He hosted like he killed me in a game, and I was like kind of new, like I was like, and I asked him the 1v1, whereas like if like that's like a big no, right? And yeah, like it was pretty cringy looking back at it now, but the guy said yes, and I was like, oh shit, okay. So we 1v1 for a little, we went at it, like he was a good player at the time, and I think we ended up tying or whatever. And and his internet crashed, and he hosted me for like 550 people, and I got some awesome donos and stuff like that, and like that was like the one thing, like the first thing. I had been streaming probably for about 7 or 8 months at that time, that I finally had like a little bit of, you know,
Right.
sense of like, wow, like this is super cool, this is very humbling. And so that happened, and then I started networking a little bit more, and then I started getting little, not small, but like, 40 viewer hosts from like someone like Aircool. Like
Yeah.
when I first started networking with Aircool, he was averaging, I think, like 40 or 50 viewers, and then like he qualified for Winter Royale, started getting his name out there a little bit more, and then I started getting hosted by him once in a while, and then like started getting more engaged with his community, as he has a lot of networking experience as well, and like started like seeping into his community a little bit, getting my name out there, started getting small little hosts here and there from other people. Before you know it, like it all kind of adds up. And then the big one recently was getting hosted by Justin, getting hosted by Fear Itself for 2,200 people.
The
Randomly,
OG Halo
yeah,
God himself,
randomly,
bro.
dude, like
Yeah,
completely
that was.
randomly.
I watched the clip back, and it was
Oh my
so
god,
random.
man. It was like someone just, they were just looking for someone to host, just like we might. And one of his viewers said, "Oh, this guy might be okay." And he said, "Yeah, sure, let's do it." And he hosted me, um
Jesus.
and before you know it, now he's hosted me like 3 or 4 more times. And so like something like that, it's just like a little confidence boost, like you work so hard for these little, like just to have a little push,
Yes,
right? You're like
exactly.
you're talking on that train, or like climbing a hill, you're climbing this mountain, right? Just to have someone just kind of throw you up a little bit, it's just like that, that
Grab
Yeah,
that ledge.
yeah. You like when Samwise puts Frodo on his
on his
back,
back.
like, you know
I
what I'm
can't carry
saying?
the ring for you, but I can carry you.
That's
You're
what
like,
I'm saying, right?
oh,
Yeah,
Pepe
yeah,
hands.
I actually
yeah.
kind of want to ask you a question about because I recently read in a book, I forget which book it was, about the importance of having your own brand in
Hmm.
these like environments where everyone has their own brand.
Hmm.
And a lot of the, Twitch streamers, a lot of people who are streaming on Twitch, I should say, not Twitch streamers, are kind of just like streaming brandless, like
Hmm.
with their in-game name and kind of just like floating around. And actually, uh in this book I was reading, they were talking about how specifically with Twitch and then with Justin TV way back in the day,
Hmm.
how they were showing some examples of how people, like, as soon as they would like come up with their own individual brand idea,
Yeah.
they're like just their statistics across the board, like within the next month, were starting to increase just off of having their own brand and something with other people to connect with. And so this kind of ties into, I'm curious about how you decided to come up with just the line in general, and just like
Hmm.
even like the color scheme of it. Like, what was your idea? Maybe who helped you with it? Where did it come from? Or how do you
Yeah.
connect with a line? You know what I mean? How does this come into play here?
Yeah. Well, so when I first started streaming, I did my research beforehand. I know I would check, not necessarily like, yeah, you would research who was at the top, but you also want to research who is like kind of at the middle, who's like currently growing, right? Currently getting. And the one thing that stood out to me the most was logos. And because like as a logo, and not necessarily just logos, but everything else, like their brand and the professionalism, right? Professionalism, like that's something that people really latch onto. They see, okay, he's got a nice stream set up, right? And nice banners, which I need to improve upon badly. But anyways, just as an example, right? It's a first image. It's if your first image, your first, like, this is what they see first, and that they're like, it's eye grabbing, it's this guy's got it going on, right? And you want to keep them there, right? And then hopefully your content will keep them there as well. But the lion itself is actually, so Lion King, a little background behind it. Lion King was always my favorite movie growing up. Lions always been my favorite animals. I love the whole pride thing, like the whole, strength, determination, like, they're very family orientated, right? Like that kind of stuff. And my brother is a Leo is another piece of the background. And then I found this geometric design but like probably like four-ish years ago. And I always thought, I was like, oh man, that would be a cool tattoo. That's always like, I was like, that'd be a very cool tattoo to kind of like, symbolize like my brother being a Leo, how much they mean to me and stuff like that. And I remember having that thought. I was like, I wonder like if I ever do something, that'd be a cool logo. And then I started streaming and I was like, I started thinking about logos and I was like, light bulb, like I was like, oh shit, that would be so cool. So I threw the idea at a buddy of mine and I was like, hey, do you think you can make this into a cool looking logo? And he's like, yeah, no problem. And then he whipped up the colors himself together, and before you knew it, this was my logo. And I've kind of just been kind of branding it as much as I can everywhere.
Have you, would you say from personal experience that maybe, or did you start your stream with the brand as well?
Mm-mm.
Or so then here's my question is prior to having the brand and then maybe in the like immediate time after having the brand, did you see any, anything to maybe kind of talk, like, lean on what I was reading out of this book that having a brand, like streaming with a brand is a better idea than not?
Yeah. Not necessarily maybe for like the fans and like what they see, but like when I remember like that feeling, like Torchy, I don't know, maybe you could probably relate to this, but like when I got a logo, it was just like that like sense of like, wow, this is super cool. Like
Yeah.
I have a logo, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
when you first get that logo, when you first develop this brand that you're talking about, it's like a little sense of like passion, like it really like broods
You
deep into
you
you.
get
Like
this like newfound sense of identity. Like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
you
exactly,
you
right? And it's
really
just like,
discover
wow,
more about, yeah.
This is
exactly, yeah.
like
It's like, so it's as soon as you build upon anything in your stream, like you do like you fix your overlay or you build up on your
Yep.
overlay. It's like, oh, that looks really cool. But like when I first got my logo, I remember the feeling of being like, wow, this is super cool. Like this is like a very cool feeling that I really want to latch onto. And I knew it was the right logo. Like I knew it was it, and I knew it's
it
something
feels
that I wanted
great in
to.
your
Yeah,
stomach, doesn't it?
yeah,
Like when you
yeah.
just
It
know
does.
something so
Yeah.
certain. I've
Mm-hmm.
had that feeling a couple of times in my life where and it is honestly, you know what the same kind of feeling is, but it's kind of a negative feeling. Is it's kind of if you feel it in the same place is like when you're like, oh shit, what do I do?
Yeah.
Like it's that pit, but like.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? It's like in the same spot of your
Yeah.
stomach. It can be like
Yeah.
an empty pit, or it can
Yeah.
be filled with so much like,
Yeah.
oh my
Mm-hmm.
god, like I need. It's a crazy thing, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But so actually, what I kind of want to turn to, what I think for like the last question about Twitch is, I think Twitch for everybody kind of helps them, or they use it for like a different outlet, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like Twitch has helped me as a viewer, kind of, in dark times, be able to reach out to people, new people, and kind of pull myself through the light, whether that be distracting my brain or, what I
Mm-hmm.
mean, communicating with people in general.
Yeah.
And I think I'll forever use the example of Steve, Daddy Steve,
Mm-hmm.
our guest last week,
Mm-hmm.
going through his the tragedy of his brother
Yeah.
losing his
Yeah.
brother and then bouncing back as fast as he did shows what he uses Twitch as.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously an escape, and being able to just like I think put himself in that work, I
Mm-hmm.
would imagine is what helps him.
Yeah.
So my question to you kind of is, um in what aspects do you think you use Twitch for, whether that be an escape, and if it is an escape, is it an escape from like kind of the own pressures you put on yourself, or from outside forces on top of you, if that makes
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. Like that. See, I heard about that Steve thing, and I'm quite deeply saddened for him. And I was very excited and very happy to see how quickly he bounced back into Twitch, because it really does speak volumes of how amazing this platform is and how amazing these communities and these people that are on this platform that I think more often than not people that are on this platform are kind of going through maybe not quite the same things that you're going through, but they're going through things of their own. Because
Right.
I would like to say that like 70 to 80% of the people, just pulling a number out of my butt, but like on Twitch regularly are generally people who are using it as an escape, right? Like using it as this outlet to kind of escape from, you know, the real world, like the harshes of the real world, and using this to um, oh, I'm reading your chat. I knew I shouldn't have said but. As soon as I said but, I knew I knew they were yeah, anyways. But using it as an escape and using it as a tool to kind of escape that reality, and you know, um go to all these relationships, because like you just meet so many people on this platform, and so many amazing people that are truly going to be there for you, and like that they just really really care about you. And for me personally, like I touched on earlier, when I was done, I was just kind of was in, I had this void. I always call it my void that I had, that I just didn't know how to fill it. Like I just didn't had nothing that I was truly passionate about it anymore. Now that volleyball was kind of gone, and didn't know what I wanted to do with school, and um, Twitch has filled that void for me, and it's undescribable. Like I can't even describe it to my parents. They just don't understand like how meaningful and how amazing of an opportunity that this has been for me. Not only like to keep me busy and everything, but just mentally and everything. It's just something that I've always been able to go to. Like if I'm feeling down on myself, I stream. Right? Even like, you know, like if
That's
like I
big.
just, yeah.
You
That's
know what's
that's
incredible
yeah.
to me? You know what was as like from a viewer aspect, what I think is incredible is literally so you can go down and scroll all the way to the bottom of any game where there's like one or two viewers, and you go in there, any one of those streams, and just say what's up and talk to that person glows with light.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
want to get seriously here, gems being dropped right now. You
Yeah.
want to get an instant smile on your face regardless of
Yeah.
what's happening,
Yeah.
go to Twitch, any game, person with one viewer, and have
Yeah.
a conversation with that person, an
Yeah.
honest conversation.
Yeah, it
You will
does.
leave that conversation feeling like a better person. You will leave
Yeah.
that conversation feeling like you just made somebody's day, because most of the time you are. Like
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
most of the
true.
time that person has been streaming
Mm-hmm.
for a long time, or I mean they just started streaming, and it's
Mm-hmm.
exciting that like just the fact that somebody is giving their time
Yeah.
to talk with you, to be that first viewer
Uh,
is mind boggling. And I remember when I would stream, I always talk about when I would stream Fallout. There's one
yeah.
guy who lived on the other side of the world who spoiled the whole game for me. But like I always like it felt incredible to have him there, because I was like, dude, someone's watching me play
Yeah.
Fallout. Like what the
Yeah.
hell? But at the
Yeah.
same time, I'm level 20 with everything unlocked and have
Yeah.
every strong weapon. So I'm like,
Yeah.
what's the purpose? But at the same
Yeah.
time, it felt incredible to me. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And I think that's insane about Twitch, that you can go and instantly make somebody's day, honestly, and then that makes you feel like a way better
Yeah.
person too.
Yeah.
And that's
The
just cool.
the gratification around it is quite cool. It's
Yeah,
very, it's addicting. And I think that's part of the reason why people who start streaming continue to stream, because they get those little hints of this feeling that, you know, they want to feel again. They like, and then they,
sure.
you know, they have another person come in. It's like, oh, another person comes in, another person, and then it starts, you know, and before you know it, you have a community, right? Like,
Yeah.
and then that community just keeps evolving, and you shape each other, and you know, you latch onto each other for things. And it's cool.
It's really interesting because like to an extent it's almost, at least when I remember when I first started seeing anybody's name that I, you know, that wasn't like my IRL friend, it was almost just like that feeling of getting noticed. And
mm-hmm.
like for someone like me who was always the smaller kid or like whatever, always kind of shy or whatever in the back, it's like that feeling of being noticed by somebody or being acknowledged by someone is like really
Mm-hmm.
big to like my, you know, my mental or whatever. But
Yeah, like your self confidence, your
yeah,
self worth.
exactly. Yeah.
It's a horrible thing to say, and it's a sometimes it's like sucks saying it, but the fact that we like tie our self worth into like if a random person will give us a moment of their time, but literally in that like when you're streaming, I remember I was streaming for like 2.5 weeks before somebody came in my stream, and
Mm-hmm.
that night I went to bed feeling like I was like, wow, man,
I'm a winner now.
I'm
Like
a
I don't know,
Yeah.
it's weird. It's really
Yeah,
weird.
no,
weird
100%.
stimulant, man.
100%.
Yeah.
100%, man.
With that being said, I think that there's a lot of negative sides to this, and I think that when you're kind of in the trenches like you are, Loft, I think that it can get real cloudy and real muggy and foggy there, especially like I'm just basically talking about with your mental.
Mm-hmm.
How like in the midst of grinding and in the midst of being like sleep deprivation, in the midst of I hope you're hydrating well at least. Like how do you handle
Got
it?
the
Jar
What
water.
water. He's got the G Fuel. He's got the
what are
caffeine.
maybe your outlets, in order to handle your mental when things are getting a bit cloudy?
Yeah, I think definitely what's helped me the most is my past sports career. I think because like volleyball was a grind as well because you had so many other things going on as well as volleyball with school, with friends, with family, and all that kind of stuff. That it really taught me how to take care of my mental health and how to take care of myself personally and what I needed to do to keep myself going, right? And um, yeah, like we talked about earlier, like it's not easy, man. Like it's getting that very little sleep, that constant like someone I just had a conversation with someone and they asked me what my biggest fear was. And I said something corny at first saying heights or whatever. And they're like, no, dig deeper, dig deeper. And I was like, I have a constant fear of failing. Like I always am scared that I won't generate and have a fulfilling life that I want to have. I always have that constant fear. And so every night before I go to bed, I think about my stream. Okay, what went well, what went poorly. How do I improve upon that kind of stuff that went poorly, and then I think about what I'm gonna do the next day and where I'm at as a streamer, as like how are things going, like how am I like I kind of have like a little kind of corny conversation with myself, just to try to kind of keep me keep me
Grounded,
going, keep
reel it in.
yeah keep me right? Like because you can really get lost in the grind, like
Hmm.
where like all of a sudden 2 weeks goes by and you have no idea what the hell just happened,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And because it's just I'm doing the same thing every day I'm doing the exact same
They
thing.
just get foggy
They
because they're
get
the
foggy,
same.
man. They get foggy.
Tuesdays is no different from Friday, so
I have to like with now that World Cup is going on right now, so Saturday and Sunday being the tournament days, like I don't even like I have to check almost every like it's went like I don't even know what day it is half the time because like I'm just so engulfed in this grind, right?
I feel you.
And like I have to always like, hey, when is Saturday? Like, okay, yeah, I got a few
Yeah.
more days to prep, like because you're just so like head down to the grind, right?
And
Yeah.
so one thing that I kind of wanted to touch on with this kind of ties in with the mental side of things is if you could touch on a little bit like the immediate reaction that you were feeling once you like one the feeling you felt when you had decided to quit your job and then
Mm-hmm.
maybe how you were feeling like a month after, maybe a month into your decision,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
if you could maybe touch on a little bit how you were feeling then.
Yeah. When I first when I first cut down my shifts, like to like one a week, it was the greatest feeling
Right.
ever. I was
I'm
so
free.
excited.
Yeah.
Oh, I
The
was like
freedom.
I liked my job. Like I liked the
Yeah.
bartend. Where I worked was amazing. They were very good to me, but it was still a job. It was still work. It was still something I didn't love going to work, right? So when I was able to, financially and mentally cut down on my shifts to more so focus on my dreams and goals and aspirations, like oh man, like it was like
Riled up.
oh, it was wild. It was absolutely insane. And then, yeah, like a month goes by, 2 months goes by, and before you know it, I'm not working there at all anymore. So when I went on a family trip to Mexico, in around New Year's. When on my tail end of the trip, I got a really bad migraine, and actually was like hospitalized. I got really sick, and was really sick for like 3 or 4 weeks. So I wasn't working for my trip, and then another 3 or 4 weeks. I come back to work. I work one shift, and I had a co-ed volleyball tournament the next weekend. I break my goddamn ankle.
I
Oh,
remember
Yeah, so
seeing that, dude.
yeah,
It
I
looked.
break my
Ugh.
ankle, right?
dude, that's
And
the
yeah,
worst.
it was pretty bad. And
That's the
then
one injury I'm so blessed to never have had.
yeah, so I broke my ankle, so I didn't work for like another 2 months, but it gave me the opportunity to kind of fully go into this whole grind. And because I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even like go, like I
That's
couldn't
pretty
walk, right?
convenient.
Yeah, it was
That's pretty
quite convenient. And then
convenient.
so I haven't gone back ever since.
That's incredible.
Did you
Honestly,
ever
that is.
feel like, sorry, Mike, it's my
No,
bad.
go ahead,
No,
bro.
I was
Go
just gonna
ahead,
say like
bro.
when like you're cutting down the shifts, obviously it sounded like you were financially prepared to make this move, but like did you ever feel like, oh crap, dude, like, you know, because I remember that.
Back against the wall, kind
Yeah,
of.
yeah, because I remember there were a couple of
Oh
tweets
yeah.
back in the day where you were like, "Hey, Twitch, you're not paying me out. Like, this is what I need to do to get my money." Like,
Yeah,
I
dude.
remember those days. Like,
Yeah.
did you? What was that feeling like? You know?
It was scary, man. It was really scary because like I really want to make my parents proud. Like I
Yeah,
really like, you know what I'm
absolutely.
saying? And like
Yeah,
they're, as most parents are, and as they semi should be, they're very number orientated. They, as long as you can like, as long as you can take care of yourself, that's right. That's what they always cared about, right? But there was times where I was like I might have to go back to work. I don't know. Like, and like back against the wall a little bit. Like I pay rent, and then I'd look at my bank account and be like, fuck. Like,
yeah,
right? But like,
exactly.
what am I gonna eat for the next? And then there was definitely times where it was a grind for sure, but just kept, like money has always never really been super important to me. Don't get me wrong, you need money to do things that you want to do, but I do my best to really not let money dictate what I'm doing with my life and everything. And but if I'm able to, make money with doing something that I'm super passionate about, like that's obviously the ultimate goal. But
Yeah, absolutely.
um um even when I was kind of like back against the wall, was kind of like, I was pretty broke. It's not like I'm making like an insane amount of money right now, as it might seem like I'm saying that, right? But I'm getting by, and that's all that matters. Like I'm
Yeah,
getting by, I'm working towards something that's the ultimate goal. As long as I can financially sustain myself to do that and pay rent and eat food, and I'm happy. So
yeah. I
That's
think
incredible.
that's like what I want to be at right now. You know, it's like
yeah.
just to. It's not that it has to blow up to this like huge this
Mhm.
huge what do you call it, lucrative thing, just to be able to get by and at least do what I enjoy doing. So I can
Mhm.
totally feel you on
Mhm.
that one, man.
Mhm.
And
So
yeah,
now, sorry,
go ahead.
not to get a little, obviously we're getting personal, but
Mhm.
I don't know if this maybe, if we had all even tiptoe on something that, you can be like next, or you know what I mean.
Mhm.
um, so I would imagine you're paying some form of your bills with your Twitch income then,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, so now that that is the case, is there an added weight to stream? Is like to meet your schedule as much as you do? Because now, if you don't hit that start button, especially at the rate, I feel like you have to keep hitting it at that rate. You know what I mean? To
Yeah.
meet that quota. In my brain, because my brain is numbers oriented like hell. It ticks like a
Mhm.
it's just.
Mhm.
And so
As
yeah,
many
if you
are.
could,
Yeah.
yep, so if you could maybe speak on maybe how that has affected maybe your um I don't know, your if it's affected your love for streaming negatively
Yeah.
or not, or
Um the thing is, like, if I wasn't enjoying what I was doing, like if I ever stop enjoying streaming, I will probably just quit streaming. Right? Like I touched on earlier, like if I'm super passionate about something, I just do it. Like I don't care what other people think or care about, or even my parents and my friends. Like I've ever since I started streaming, I've lost friendships like that. Okay, you're not supporting me at all. Like not necessarily, maybe not supporting me. You don't necessarily have to support me, but if you're like putting me down because like I'm pursuing something that I'm very passionate about, it's kind of like see you later. Like
yeah.
it's nice to know that your intentions, that you're not really there for me at all, like when I kind of needed you to be. So it was quite nice that way. But to go back to kind of your question, was that I don't really think about the numbers that much, because I have a deep belief that if I just keep my head down, stay on that grind, like stay working towards my goals and aspirations, that if I just don't stop doing that, that eventually it's gonna all work out, And if it
I feel
doesn't,
that.
then I find something else, Like I move on. It's not like I'm, like I know I'm getting, like I'm 25. I'm not. It's not like I'm 20 like most of these streamers are, or like 19, 20. How old are you, Jack? You're
I'm
20.
24.
24. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you can probably relate to that a little bit. Like I wish I was 20. I wish I started this when I was 20 years old or whatever,
Yeah.
but I didn't. And that's the reality of the fact that I gave myself and my parents, I gave myself a year. I had probably been streaming for about 4 or 5 months at the time, and I gave myself a year. I was like, I'm gonna do this for a year, and if I don't feel like I want to keep doing it and like don't really like care for doing it anymore, or B, it's just not working, I don't see any progress or anything, that I'm going to stop doing it. So we're
Right.
coming like in that year, we're coming up to probably about like month 10 or 11, and I
It's looking good
feel
right now, huh?
I feel like I'm working really hard, and that it's going well, and the last like few months way better than the months before, and like I just want to keep rolling with it and not think about the numbers, not think about, I just want to think
Sure.
about
That's a
how hard I
beautiful
need to work
mindset.
tomorrow, so
Yeah.
That's a great
yeah.
mindset, man.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful mindset. That is a mindset that I'm actively trying to adapt.
Hmm.
Travis Scott, actually, I read a quote from him saying that literally at the end of each one of his shows, when he's handed his check, he hands it straight to his manager and asks when his next show is.
Hmm.
He doesn't even
Hmm.
care about the fact that he
Hmm.
just got 125 grand for that show. He's on
Yeah.
to what the next check is and on to
Yeah.
what, like, basically saying he's on to what the next day's work is. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily about
Exactly.
the money. It's like,
It's
oh, that
about the
was nice,
grind. It's
whatever.
about,
What's
yeah.
the next one? Where's the next
Exactly.
one? Where's the next one?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
I read that a couple of years ago, and that has always kind of stuck with me. So you even saying it there, it is myself. I honestly work really hard to try to adapt, and um, yeah. So it's crazy to see people.
Hmm.
I'm 21, so I give myself.
Hmm.
I'll be honest, I don't give myself any slack, but I try to give myself a little slack and be like, I got a couple years before I gotta,
Yeah.
be like, all right,
Yeah.
what's going on here?
Yeah.
But at the
For
same
sure.
time, I look at, people, who are, a few years older than me, especially because you guys have lived a few more years of life, and that means a few more years of experience.
Hmm.
So I look to you guys and try to take lessons from you guys. And so I think regardless of how the our chat ends, I think that that'll be my takeaway lesson is that I need to adapt to this mindset rapido
Yeah, as quick as
yesterday.
you can possibly do it. Like I was saying earlier, like I wish, like I was passionate about volleyball at the time, but in hindsight, like what was volleyball like? I could have had the opportunity to play professionally in Europe probably if I wanted to, but my body was kind of like, and my knees were really bad, my
Don't
back's
want to do
bad, shoulder,
that.
like and it's just like
I
how
feel
long can
that.
I possibly do this for, right?
Right.
But and then like I knew I could coach for a while, but like again, like how successful can I be as a volleyball coach, right? There's not that much opportunity, right? You can do what you want with it, but I was like, is this really what I want to do? And I really wish I found this passion when I was younger and just started chipping away at it then, and then it would be. I'm quite curious to know where I'd be at now, but
Do you feel like
um,
you have been and obviously, I'm genuinely asking, do you feel like if you would have found it earlier that you would have handled it the same way and like with
no,
the
that's the
That's
thing,
what I was gonna say
exactly,
too.
right?
Is
That's
we're
the great.
older and
differently that
there's
you're
that.
handling it
Yeah.
right now?
I've had that thought where I was now like the reason why I did do it was because I was able to,
Yeah.
right? I had the time. I had the money to kind of get myself started. And I didn't really have the time, I guess, but wasn't really doing anything else. Like I wasn't, I was just working a normal job
Yeah.
and like just coaching and like I was just kind of living, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like back then I was like working towards volleyball, working towards school and like trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And now it's been cool.
I think
Yeah.
that's like the biggest difference is like a lot of the younger folks that are trying to get into it. It's really hard because they have different obligations and they have things that they must do to an extent. Like you
Mm-hmm.
can't,
Yeah.
for the most part, like you can't really just quit school, especially if you're like in grade school still. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's just not
Yeah.
really an option. At least it is, but to me and like to most people, it's not really. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but I just want to hear a little bit about kind of what you see long term with the streaming thing. Like, are you just gonna what's your focus right now? Is it really just gonna be to just ride this until
Mhm.
it becomes like you said, like until you don't enjoy it, or still? Do you think you're going? Is your goal to obviously it's to find stability and be able to
Mhm.
provide for yourself and whatever? But I mean,
Mhm.
do you think you're gonna just keep going until you kind of say, I want to move on to something else? Is that
Yeah,
what the look
no, that's
is?
something I think about a lot.
Yeah,
Um, I'm a very passionate. I'm a very hardworking person, but I'm also a very realistic person. I set goals for myself that I truly believe I can achieve, but I also am very realistic in the sense that like maybe I won't become Nick Merckx. Maybe I won't become Tifu or like that's
sure.
very realistic possibility that that does not happen,
Right.
and that I can't make a lucrative lifestyle for myself through streaming. So that's something I think about a lot, and what I'm gonna do if that doesn't work out. Um, but what I am grateful for streaming is that it's really opened my eyes into what like I see myself if streaming doesn't work out for me, I see myself working at Twitch or working in the
Sure.
esports world or like doing and finding whatever it is I want to do and go and maybe I might have to go back to school for a couple years to do that, which is totally fine. Like in hindsight, like I know that I will probably stream for a very long time. Will I continue what I'm doing like right now for a very long time? Who knows? Like
Sure.
probably pretty hard to stay on the grind that I'm doing for multiple years. But I definitely see myself working in the industry at some point, and if I need to go back to school to do that, great, I will. I'm hoping that opportunities arise where I don't need to go back to school, so I can save time and money and just get right into it and find something that find something else that I'm super passionate for, or an industry or business that I'm super passionate for through the networking purposes. And networking relationships that I've made through streaming and through Twitch and all that kind of stuff that I'm hoping something falls into line that way, and if it doesn't, then I need to make it happen, right?
I
So
feel that. That kind of
yeah.
ties in perfectly in terms of like your long-term plans,
Hmm.
kind of to take this back to your competitive, Fortnite drive. Which, to be honest with
Hmm.
you, man, I think Fortnite already in pub matches is a top tier competitive game. Like these kids, they don't give a fuck. They don't care if it's 1 a.m. They don't give a fuck if
Hmm.
they were supposed to be in the middle of fourth period. These kids are
Yeah.
on the phone going hard, bro, in the middle
Yeah.
of math class.
Yeah.
Like it is nuts, bro. So
Yeah.
with that being said, um, it's been to my surprise to see a lot of the pros like seriously kind of voicing their what's the term, their complaints, their displeasures, dislikes with Fortnite in its current state. And it's actually
Yeah.
it's kind of come across my radar that after this World Cup, a lot of pros are actually taking the position of like it almost feels like a united checkout where like we're gonna
It's
kind of
almost a united
boycott almost,
retirement. Like,
like
Yeah.
we're gonna boycott. It almost seems like because I can imagine like, so basically my question is, what are your plans in terms of like with World Cup? And obviously if you were to go on and win World Cup, that completely changes
Yeah.
everything, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like one thing I liked a lot is that you said you set realistic goals for yourself that you feel
Hmm.
you can honestly achieve. So um I know you definitely have looked at where Fortnite is in its current
Hmm.
state. What is your long-term plan with the World Cup and what happens following the World Cup?
Um. Obviously, making World Cup is like the primary goal right now. Something self and my partner can achieve, either solo or duo or whatever. Um. But that being said, I set realistic goals for myself and know that it's going to be very hard to achieve. And like you're saying, I am very well aware of the current state of Fortnite. And I see not a lot of people are
I see some of your tweets. They're hilarious, dude.
yeah, it's
I'm
there.
dying.
It's wild, right? And but like, we're all complaining as much as we do, and we're all really on edge of how the state of the game is because we care, right?
right.
Like we truly care, not necessarily for ourselves, but we care about the community. We care about all these other people that I've networked with and met, like who have made a living and made a name for themselves through Fortnite. Like if Fortnite goes down, what do they do? Like I'm worried for
Mhm.
them. I'm worried for myself, right? I know that I can probably find ways to maybe hopefully get myself out of it. But I don't see Fortnite going anywhere after Worlds. Like I know a lot of people say that they're quitting and blah blah blah, which personally, like I see all these like top tier, top professional players saying, Fortnite's a joke, like I'm quitting, And Epic Games is listening. So if you're out there and you're a professional Fortnite player and you're just talking shit to Epic all the time and like they don't not see that kind of stuff. So make sure you're just being professional about it. But anyways, I kind of like I don't really care if they quit. Like if they quit, that's just like more room for me to be
Bro,
There
I
you
was gonna
go.
successful.
say,
Like
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like
bro, opportunity, quit, motherfuckers,
like
quit.
I don't want to name I don't want to name drop or anything, but like one who sticks out to me a little bit, who mainly I'm just gonna name drop because most will probably know. His name's Bizzle. He plays for Ghost. He's
Yeah.
like
Insane player.
probably top 5 most consistent players in the world. Like has won so many tournaments. Him and his partner DMO is like they're just insane. They're so consistent. They're so good. He just qualified for Worlds and everything, but he's very vocal on Twitter and very harsh towards it, like very vocal. And Epic Games definitely notices that kind of stuff. And he's been one of the ones that says he's going to quit after World Cup and blah blah blah. Which if he quits, well, that just gives opportunity to someone else to kind of take his spot. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So I don't really care if some of these people quit. I
You
kind of
welcome the
hope
quitting.
I kind of hope they do because
I love
then that just like creates more pathways for myself and other streamers and other professional competitive Fortnite players. So I think 70 to 80% of them are kind of all talk. They're kind of just disgruntled and it's a dark time. It's a dark time
Yeah.
to be a Fortnite player right now. But
Yeah.
I think most of them are all talk. But if some of them aren't, Fortnite's not going anywhere, man. Like if they have the
Yeah.
money, like if they just keep pumping out these cash tournaments, man,
for real.
people are going to play in them. Like there's people who are coming back from Apex to play in the World Cup. And
Yeah.
you know, King Richard, for example, King Richard recently sent out a tweet and it's like, yo, if Fortnite's going to keep pumping these tournaments out, maybe I'm going to start grinding Fortnite again. Anybody want to be my duo partner, right? So it's to grab someone of that, you know, of that volume to bring him back into Fortnite after he had so much success in Apex. Like he won like 5 tournaments and
Yeah.
you know, like was like booming on that game. To bring someone like that back to Fortnite, like it's not going
It's
anywhere,
big.
man. There's no way. As long as they keep tournament, it's
And I
Yeah.
think as long as Ninja is at the forefront,
Mhm.
because regardless of what anybody wants to say at the end of the day, with you know how Tifu was like he was smashing for a while, and I still think Tifu does smash. You know what I mean? I feel like Ninja is always gonna kind of be like the point of the rhinoceros's horn.
Yeah, oh
You
yeah.
know, like
Yeah,
he's
he's the
leading the
pioneer. He's
charge.
the yeah.
And like you see Ninja partnering with Walmart, you see
Yeah.
Ninja partnering with like breaking down barriers that gaming has been knocking down for years,
Yeah.
man. We've been knocking at the doors for certain things
Yeah.
for years, man, and he
Yeah.
is smashing through them,
He's done
wrecking
it in
ball
like 1
style,
year. Like literally
butt
he's
ass
just
naked, Miley
mashed.
Cyrus
Yeah.
style,
Yeah.
like quite
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah.
Um, but before we go ahead and throw it to the questions from the chat and stuff, I kind of wanted to ask you one more question, just for anybody like on the verge of maybe hitting the start button, or on maybe feels like they have something to bring to the table in terms of
Yeah.
streaming as well. What is some advice you would give them if they're just starting something? Words of wisdom that you
Yeah.
would have for fresh
Mhm.
new streamer, or somebody who's dream it is to be a streamer.
Mhm. I think my first thing, something that I didn't do that I wish I did, was like you said, generate that brand, generate that idea of who are you going to be? Because when you press that start streamer button, you can be whoever you want to be. Whoever, right? You could dress up in some funny costume, you could use an accent, you can do whatever you want to be. So truly know and understand who you're going to be when you press that start streamer button, and like what you're gonna be, like the brand that you're gonna pursue. And as well as like more so of like tips kind of stuff is like you were talking about earlier, Mike, like when you have that one person that comes into your chat, really connect with that person, because that person might be your mod down like a
Yeah.
year down the road, or your VIP or whatever, right? Those are going to be the people that are going to truly be there for you if you allow them to be. So really connect with those first individuals, like develop like a relationship with them. Don't just think of them as a viewer, like think of them as like a friend, as someone
Yeah.
who's like a pioneer in your journey, like they're they're truly there for you. They truly want to see you succeed. And like I have a lot of people out there who are like coming to my mind right now, who are like the first, like the OGs, I call them, right? Like the
Yeah.
Lofgeezy OGs who like who were there when I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 viewers, right? To where I'm at now. And really latch onto them, really develop a relationship with them, because they're gonna help you out a lot.
Yeah,
For sure.
the OGs are
The
where
OGs
it's
are
at,
everything,
man.
man.
Honestly, yeah. My mods or VIPs are all the OGs for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man. I mean, I want to throw it over to the viewer questions now. Kind of wrap things up. I know we're almost at our 2-hour mark. So, guys, if you have questions, throw them in the chat. I got one that I've been saving from GT. This one's for Loft. Have any orgs reached out to you yet? Seems like you're seems like some are really biased when it comes to selecting people to rep them, but that's just me. I think your grind is amazing. I guess he just really wants to know like what the org situation is like. Maybe your thoughts on joining an org, or how you are kind of, because obviously you could have joined one by now, I feel like.
Yeah.
But there's also a little bit of like, not just gonna go to any random. Yeah, exactly. So what are your thoughts on that?
Being on a professional org is something like that's like my be all end all right now. That and like the Twitch partner thing. But as a player, that is kind of like, being paid by an org is the ultimate goal right now. And that's something that I'm gonna show to my parents. Be like here we go. I did it. Like I am a professional. Be able to truly call myself a professional Fortnite player when that happens. I have been reached out to by some orgs, couple of whom paid, but maybe it's more so of a boastfulness or a confidence thing. But I truly feel like I know my own self-worth.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
that's what I was
truly,
trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I truly feel like I know what I'm
bringing to
capable
the
of,
table.
because
Yeah.
what we talked about earlier with like how you guys were saying that there's not a lot of people out there that put in the time and effort that I do. And that's something I'm quite proud of. That I don't see anyone working, at least not in the Fortnite community, not very many people working quite as hard as I am. But unfortunately, organizations don't really see that side of things. They see results. They're very result orientated. So I haven't really shown the results quite yet on Fortnite leaderboards. I've had one good showing last weekend on Saturday. I got like 40th on the leaderboard in the semifinal for the World Cup. And that was like the first time I'd cracked like top 100, top 50. Wow. And so I need to just do a little bit more of that, and then hopefully, a couple offers come my way. But as for will I be joining an org soon? Hopefully. But there's nothing really in the works in terms of like, I'm gonna be probably joining this org or whatever, but not quite yet. Hopefully, I'm just been holding out for that, that one opportunity where I'm like, yep, that's it. And this is what I'm gonna do. I'm like, where's the papers? I'll sign them right now. Because I know that because I've been holding out for so long, I know that I'll have that feeling when I'll know that feeling.
Yeah.
So that's the feeling I'm holding out for. But yeah,
takes me back to competitive COD, man. It takes me back to Call of Duty Advanced Warfare when I was debating. Literally had 3 different offers, and I was debating. 2 of them were playoff teams, and I was just like hard weighing which people I wanted to hard carry. And yeah, dude, it's an incredible. I'll be honest with you. Even I mean, those weren't even. That was back in what 2014, maybe 2015. So, and in the AM scene, there wasn't tons of money in COD. So, like, they were paying for you to get into tournaments, and that was really it. And then if you would win the tournaments, you would, pay them back what it costs to get in, and then you keep the profits off of that.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, even to have that happen felt like holy shit, dude, I'm playing this tournament for free. Yo ass bought in.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like that
yeah.
is a toxic COD community. You know what I mean? So everything is leveraged back then. No, it's crazy, man. It's a beautiful thing, dude.
Lots changed now too. Like now players are getting like like salaries and like all
Yep.
sorts of stuff, and it's
I mean, and you don't even necessarily have to be on, no flame or disrespect to any organization, but you don't have to be a juggernaut like TSM or Optic to have a
no,
salary.
no,
You can make people nowadays, it used to be, I feel like it used to be like you either make no money or you're making it.
yeah,
Now,
yeah,
I feel like you can be in almost every like financial class
mhm,
through gaming. You literally you can meet almost every tax bracket
yeah,
through, you know what I mean? And
yeah, I do
like that is a
exactly.
beautiful thing, and that all that
Hmm.
shows is opportunity.
Opportunities,
The
yeah, lots of
doors
different
are open.
opportunities,
You
yeah.
know what I mean?
So, and it just
It's
like
beautiful.
goes back to when we talked about the whole luck thing. I'm just trying to put myself out there as much as I can, right? By playing as much as I can, by working as hard as I possibly can, because I know, I deeply, deeply feel that if I just grind, like push through this grind and work as hard as I need to, I'll get to where I want to be, right? So,
I think you're gonna do it, bro. I'll be honest with
Yeah.
you. I think
yeah.
you're gonna pop, man. I think this first year was really good for you.
Mhm.
Obviously, best case scenario is that the train doesn't slow down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
That would be obviously incredible. It would be even more incredible if the train sped the fuck up. You know, like
yeah,
we could
yeah,
skedaddle, throw more
yeah,
coal in this shit. Let's get
yeah,
moving.
yeah.
But I really think regardless, even if you go through a desert period, I think you just the work ethic separates you, and
Mhm,
if you can have that piece where your work ethic is separating you,
mhm,
if you add on creativity, anything else you add on, interaction with chat,
mhm,
anything else that you add on is added on value that
mhm.
you're deciding to bring because your work ethic is already setting you apart. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And so I think that regardless, honestly, as long as you know, because life is crazy. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And
Oh yeah,
we're all young at the end of the
yeah,
day. We're not even
yeah,
in our 30s. You know what I mean? So what's happening
yeah.
in a year? Like honestly, like some of us, one of us could not be here, like in terms of like streaming wise. I don't mean like, but like you know what I mean.
Yep,
Someone, you know what I mean. Like
yep.
so, as long as nothing crazy insane happens where you don't choose to stop streaming, I think you'll
Yeah,
make it, dude. And I think that you have a
appreciate that.
beautiful, beautiful, beautiful plan. You set
Yeah.
goals for yourself that are achievable, and that is something that I don't feel people do at all. And
No,
so that sets
no.
you apart in that aspect, man.
Yeah.
I think for if you ever do get down and out, man, and that you feel like it's not going at the rate in which you want it, something I learned from when Nipsey Hussle passed is that really incredible artist is that
Mm.
he was struggling with the rate in which his success was coming, and he felt like his success should have had already been dealt to him years in advance. And a quote in his music is, "How long until opportunity meets preparation?"
Yeah.
And I feel like for people who are in the trenches grinding every day, they kind of are asking that same question: is like, how long until opportunity meets all this hard work that I'm putting in? You know what I mean? And I feel
Mhm.
like you're putting in so much hard work that opportunity is destined to
Mhm.
come. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I appreciate
that's
that.
kind of, I always like to, because I feel like these conversations, I love being able to talk to just random people and being able to hear their side and what's going on in their life. And
Mhm.
so, I thank you like so much for giving us your time, dude. And,
Mhm.
allowing us, 2 hours of your day, of your night, of,
Mhm.
your
It was a
schedule.
nice break. I'm not gonna lie.
So I really
I was happy
appreciate
to
it,
do
man.
it. Definitely.
Yeah,
It,
man.
it definitely was awesome.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
appreciate it, bro. So thanks again for joining us.
No
Let
problem,
everyone know where
guys.
they can find you. I'm pretty sure I got it on the screen, but
Yeah. Yeah, I'm on quite a Instagram quite a lot. YouTube, doing my best.
that's the hard one.
Content
But we're getting there. You and me.
content for Fortnite right now is quite difficult. Ever since, yeah. Anyways, and everything's Lofgeezy. You can find me everywhere in Lofgeezy.
Right on. Okay, one last hypothetical just to close the whole thing out.
Okay.
Go ahead.
What if what's your dream org? What do we want to see in front of Loft? Do we
Oh,
want to
I
see
was gonna ask this.
100T Loft, Phase Loft, Liquid Loft? What do we want?
Uh,
Hypothetical. Give us the quick
Definitely.
answer
Yeah.
and we close it out.
100T, man.
100T
100 thieves.
Loft, you heard it
Yeah.
here first, baby. The
Yeah.
heist
100,
is on its
100
way
thieves,
to
dude.
pick
Yeah.
up
All of
Matt
us.
Loft,
With
Jeezy
the homie Nick,
Lofgren,
with
dude.
the homie Nick, the homie Drake. Now that Drake's invested
That's what I'm
into it
saying,
now,
bro.
like,
That's what I'm
dude,
saying.
100 thieves is
Crazy.
the goal.
All
100%.
right, guys, when this video goes live on YouTube, clip the last portion, send it to 100 Thieves. Everyone tag 100 Thieves in it. Loft, thank you so
Alright.
much. We appreciate it,
I
bro.
appreciate you guys.
Have a
Thank
good
you guys.
night and a
Have
good
fun.
day of
You
practice
too.
at World
Yo,
Cup. All right,
thank
bud.
you guys. I appreciate it.
All right,
Peace.
right on.
Bye,
Thank
brother.
you. Thank you.
Peace, guys. Yeah.